I wasn't aware of the program that the DoD has until November, early December of 2009 or 18, when I was going through the mandatory retirement classes. I didn't realize that there's an internship program out there for folks leaving the military to let them intern in jobs that they want to go into or think they might want to go into. Highly encourage anybody, it's similar to the career skills program, and I think it's kind of wrapped up under the same umbrella. I didn't have time to do it. The time was just too short for me leaving the Army. But yes, I put my farm up there as a cow-calf producer in that office up on Fort Campbell, hoping that I can get somebody that wants to farm, whatever the reason or something may be, if they think they want to. And even if they don't want to be a cow-calf guy, they just want to learn how to make hay, or they want to be exposed to it to learn how to kill a hog, or whatever the case may be. I'd highly encourage anybody to use it. It's permissive TDY from the military side. It's permissive TDY where you're allowed to go and intern for either a prospective employer or not. Doesn't matter. And it just requires a command approval through this program. And you can go, you can't work more than 40 hours a week, I believe, and you can't be paid. So the guy that's accepting the intern, in this case me, if I had you come to me and say, hey, I'd like to intern on your place, I owe Fort Campbell and his commander a write-up of what I can expect to teach him over the course of his tenure. So it doesn't have to be super detailed, but it's a write-up of what you could expect to learn from me over the course of the time that you've stated you want to be here. I think it's a great opportunity, especially for guys. Ag is such a tough business to break into. I think it would be a great tool for somebody that's considering agriculture in one way or another, to search out local farmers and intern with them. A common misconception, and one that I heard a couple of times with that program, is like, oh, but they only have a list of like 6 jobs and employers. That's true, but that's not the only people you can intern with. They said, hey, go find the guy that you want to intern with, the gal you want to intern with. Go find them.
Yeah.
And give them this piece of paper, ask them to fill it out, bring it back to us, and you can go. Your commander says, yes, you can go. So you're not restricted to inside a program where you can only go to this welding place, or you can only go to this air conditioning place, or whatever. As long as the commander blesses off on it, you can go to any prospective employer or teacher, mentor, and intern for them, as long as they run a business. I think it's a great opportunity. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no,
Hopefully gives enough
absolutely.
information on it.
Yeah, that's a cool thing that the Army's doing, especially.
Yeah, and it's DoD wide.
Yeah.
It's across the DoD.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep on doing that. I think there's becoming to be a new shift towards more of that skilled work.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people see that. There's been this laser focus on going to college, and not everybody needs to go to college, and we're getting to the point now where we've got so many people that went to college, but now we don't have anybody doing the skilled trades. So now a person, that does, a year-long course in welding makes more than, definitely makes more than somebody coming out of a bachelor's degree.
Oh, 100%.
And possibly on par with like a lot of people coming out of like a technical master's degree.
Yep. You're not wrong. I mean, and there's a lot of research to back that up. I did a bunch of it, actually.
Yeah.
So,
supply and demand, though.
After I left the team that I was on with you, I did a deployment, and during that deployment, I decided to finish my associate's degree. So I did that. During that time, I spent an entire one of my writing classes and stuff, research and writing on the benefits and differences between a 4-year degree and a skilled trade school. And so I did a whole bunch of research, wrote a couple of papers on it, and was really amazed, actually.
Yeah.
Because my heart's always kind of been there, but until you actually sit down and put numbers to all this stuff, you can't describe to someone the benefit. Oh yeah, it's better. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So until you sit down and research it and put numbers to all this stuff, then you're right. You just don't know. You have everybody laser focused on a 4-year college degree until a 4-year college degree becomes a high school diploma. And so there's a lot of instances, even right here in Tennessee and Kentucky, there's guys and there's companies and plenty of opportunity for folks to go into a tech certification realm, sponsored by these big companies. Like, they want people, they need people desperately. That was 5 years ago I was doing that research, but 5 years ago there was 3.2 to 3.6 million unfilled tech jobs across the U.S. And a lot of them, believe it or not, were manufacturing. They're like, oh, the manufacturing jobs have gone away. That's not entirely true. Yes, the guy inserting a die onto a hook is gone. Yes. Now a robot moves that. But now I'm the robot repair guy. You're the robot calibrating guy, right? There's plenty of jobs out there to repair, maintain, build, and calibrate that one machine. It just takes a very specific set of certifications. You can't go to college for a 4-year degree in, name your general studies, whatever. You can't go to school for something like that and be like, oh yeah, that'll get me in over here. I'll just,
Yeah.
No, they want extremely specific. When they hire you,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, program that dude to move that arm 2.73 inches. Like, yes, sir. Done. If you can't do that, then you're not hired. So there's companies out there.
It can be, laser focused on one specific task rather than, 4-year focus on
a whole bunch
of different tasks.
And a lot of these programs come out. I actually, maybe when my farm kind of like peaks as size and scope.
Is that ever going to happen?
Maybe not, but in theory, someday it will.
Yeah.
And when I do, I would love to, especially as my daughter gets closer to going to high school and stuff like that. I feel parents are kind of somewhat to blame for, because my age and, the generation before me were kind of like, hey, you should go to college, Well, maybe around the time she gets into high school, maybe I'll take the time and update some of that research and provide specifics, because I did that 5 years ago. But I would love to be able to provide an up-to-date thing to like the parents in her high school class or something, because Nissan, Toyota, Unilever, Caterpillar, to name a few right here, that all have excellent opportunities, and not just for that virtually debt-free tech certification of 18 to 20 months, but I mean, you're talking 98+% of the people that go through these programs come out with no debt for that certification, and that's fact.
Yeah,
so
because they're in demand. A lot of these places are just like, hey,
right.
go to school. We'll pay for it. You just have to work for us for a little while.
Right. So what's a 3-year commitment at, starting pay $22 an hour if you don't have any college loans?
Yeah.
That ain't bad, especially in a state like Tennessee or Kentucky. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, and it's not just for that initial certification. That's another thing I learned digging into it. And another friend of mine, like his wife's exploring some of those opportunities right now. The company that employs you is now doing kind of like the military did with us, where it's like, hey, you can continue your education. We'll pay for it. Or, in not all cases, they'll pay the entirety, but hey, we'll pay all the tuition and 50% of other costs or whatever. Yeah. A lot of these companies are doing that for people that work for them. So when you look at the disparity in incomes between a 4-year college grad and a tech school grad, now this is 5 years ago data, But 5 years ago, the difference over 30 years is $90,000. Okay, so we're both 20. You got a 4-year college degree because you're super smart because you got it at 20, and I got a tech school certification. You're going to out earn me in 30 years by $90,000.
90,000.
90,000 over 30 years. It's $3,000 a year. How much
Yeah.
is that a month? Right? So we're talking $250 a month
Yeah.
that you will earn over the long term, over 30 years more than I will.
Yeah.
The difference is
so is that including? Is that with student loan included, or?
well, there's a few variables in there, right? One is assuming that you graduate in 4 years. Because the
many
amount of
people-
debt that we're allotting against it is the amount of debt you incur in 4 years. Guess how many folks actually graduate college in 4 years? Under 60%. So now I would fall into that. Started going to school a long time ago, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I would be a part of that, guys that didn't finish in 4 years. That's fine. But the amount of debt that we calculated for this is 4 years. So if you're 4.5 years, or you're 5 years, or you're 5.5 years, or you don't go into a job earning the minimum for that field when you graduate, it skews those factors, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a perfect answer or a perfect comparison, but 90 grand over 30 years, that ain't a lot of money.
No, it's not.
And that's assuming that me, the tech school grad,
Never.
never gets a 4-year degree.
Yeah. Or doesn't
Or-
further their
Correct.
tech, their tech skill set.
So the numbers support, especially if you got a kid that's just, ADHD or what,
Yeah.
not good at sitting down and learning stuff, but you take them out and you show them something with their hands and they're just crushing it.
Yeah.
Why force them into something that they're probably going to drop out of, not complete on time, may hate and just go work in some other field that they're not trained in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do that? So, man, I'm glad you brought that up. Like, it's super passionate, a bunch of reading
Yeah.
and some writing on it.
I want to check out those papers. Even if they're 5 years old, I want to check that out.
I have to dig
That's
some of
pretty
them
cool.
up for you
That's
because
pretty cool. Yeah.
man, I really enjoyed it. It was, and like I said, it's 5-year-old data, but still, I guarantee you that you're no less in demand today as a tech guy,
Yeah.
than you were 5 years ago. It's probably, I'd argue that it's probably more so.
Yeah.
Just a lot of great opportunities, even in this part of the country where a lot of people don't really associate this part of the country with great tech opportunities, but they're out there.
Yeah.
They really are. And so I tell everybody I know, like, man, really look harshly, for your kids especially, like really look harshly at an 18 to 24 month tech certification where you're basically, if you complete the program, you're going to work and you got a guaranteed salary and you got a position. But even start school, you can't do that with a bachelor's or a master's degree.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to hire you before you start? They said, hey, complete the program and you're in. And so, I mean, that's kind of some certainty on that aspect too, I know, I like it.
Yeah.
So it was cool to kind of do the research on it and come up with some numbers and really just a better understanding of the difference between the benefits of a 4-year versus a tech certification. And there's a lot of good stuff to be said for it.
Yeah.
So